Okay, so there is a huge debate raging in the SEO world right now, and it all boils down to one single, very confusing question. In this new age of AI, is all of our schema markup suddenly useless? Let's get into it. I mean, really think about that. Is all that time you've spent painstakingly crafting your schema markup now completely worthless for AI search? Well, a brand new theory says, yeah, pretty much. And it's making a lot of us rethink, well, everything. So, here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the controversial theory itself. Then, we'll see how the experts online reacted. After that, we'll separate the hype from reality, and we'll wrap up with what this actually means for you and your work.
All right, this whole firestorm really got started by a single case study from Mark Williams Cook. He proposed a theory that basically throws a huge wrench into a core belief that most SEOs have about how AI uses our data.
Now, to really get his argument, you first have to understand this one key concept: tokenization. This is how large language models, LLMs, process information. They don't read words or code like we do. Instead, they chop everything up into these little common bits of characters called tokens. And here's the bombshell from his experiment. Mark argues that when an LLM tokenizes your web page, the very structure of your schema markup, the whole thing that makes it special, it just gets destroyed in the process. And this slide right here shows that destruction perfectly. See on the left, you've got a nice, clean line of schema code defining an organization. But after tokenization, look what you get on the right. It's just a jumble of separate tokens. To the LLM, the word organization from your special schema code now looks exactly the same as the word organization written in a plain old paragraph. All that important structural context, poof, it's gone. But, the internet did what the internet does. As soon as this theory dropped, the SEO community, especially over on Reddit, had a lot to say. The idea that all their hard work on schema was suddenly pointless for AI, that just didn't sit right with a lot of people. This comment really nails the main counterargument. The test, they're saying, is just too narrow. It's only looking at the language model all by itself. But here's the thing. Google's AI search isn't just an LLM. It's a whole complex system. Schema first feeds into other things, like Google's knowledge graph, its giant brain of facts and connections, and that superstructured information then gets fed to the LLM. And building on that, another user adds this fantastic nuanced layer. They suggest that, hey, even if the schema is just a bunch of broken up tokens, the AI could still be trained to have a bias, to prefer pages that have those specific schema tokens when it's putting together a summary. It's a subtle but really important point. And oh man, this analogy just drives the point home perfectly. The user compares it to minified JSON. Now that's just code that's been squished down by removing all the spaces. If you look at it, it seems like a total mess, but a computer can read it just fine to run an app. The argument here is that schema is the same thing. It might look destroyed to one part of the system, but Google as a whole, it still knows exactly what to do with it. Okay, so we've got two pretty strong opposing views. Does tokenization make schema useless, or is that way too simple? Let's try and cut through all the noise and figure out what's really going on. So the myth that started spreading is that LLMs are directly reading your schema and giving you a gold star for it. But the reality is way more complicated and indirect. Schema's main job is to feed clear, structured data into Google's whole ecosystem, which then helps inform the final AI answer. It's a vital piece of the puzzle, for sure, but it's not a direct line. And this is the real heart of the issue. The community pushback isn't so much about Mark's specific test. It's about fighting back against this wave of new AI SEO gurus who are trying to sell schema as some magic bullet, a direct ranking factor for AI overviews. The real experts are just stepping in and saying, whoa, hold on, it is not that simple. Okay, enough of the deep technical debate. What should you actually do with all this? How does this whole argument affect your day-to-day job? All right, here is your practical, no-nonsense action plan. Number 1, keep using schema. Use it for what it was made for, helping search engines understand your stuff and getting you those awesome, rich results. Number 2, don't try to spam schema for AI. Just stuffing it with keywords is probably a massive waste of your time. 3, and this is the big one, quality content is still king. Great content is what fuels everything. And finally, number 4, please ignore the hype cycles. Focus on the solid, proven strategies that work, not the latest AI hack. So let's sum it all up. Schema's influence on AI is real, but it is indirect, not direct.
it is still absolutely critical for getting rich results in the classic search we all know and love. And at the end of the day, no fancy schema trick is ever going to beat good old-fashioned SEO fundamentals and truly high-quality content. That's what gets you visibility, period.
You know, this whole debate just shows how quickly the ground is shifting under our feet. Our basic assumptions are being tested all the time now. So the question I want to leave you with is this. In this age of AI, what long-held SEO truth do you think is going to get blown up next? Thanks for digging into this with me.